What if I told you that right now, there is a version of you already living the life you secretly ache for? And every second you delay, that door is closing tighter. Not tomorrow, not someday. In this very moment, your future self is calling, but most people will ignore it and stay trapped. Will you? This is not imagination. This is not a fairy tale. This is the mechanics of energy, of consciousness, of who you decide to be. You are either tuning in to the frequency of abundance, peace, and clarity, or you are locked in fear, doubt, and scarcity. Which one is shaping your life right now? Listen carefully. Most people wait. They chase. They hope. They repeat empty affirmations while nothing changes. They get stuck in the cycle of almost, of someday, of later. And while they wait, the version of themselves who has already leapt forward is slipping further away. But you are different. You are here. That means the signal has reached you. Your choice is simple. Collapse back into the old timeline or claim the new one before it's too late. Quantum jumping is not about escaping reality. It is about shifting your relationship to it. It is not fantasy. It is frequency. Your frequency. Every thought, every emotion, every belief. Together, they form the password that either locks you into the old story or unlocks the future you crave. Remember this truth. You do not create your new life through force. You do not build it by hustling endlessly. You step into it by becoming the vibrational match of the one who already lives it. And until you decide, until you choose, nothing changes. So ask yourself now, which version are you feeding with your attention? Which self are you choosing to become in this very moment? The window is open, but it will not stay open forever. Pause for a moment. Feel the weight of that question. Can you sense that tug inside your chest? That quiet whisper saying there is more for you? That is not random. That is your future self pulling you forward, begging you not to miss this moment. Do you see the pattern? Every time you postpone, every time you doubt, every time you tell yourself maybe later, you reinforce the old frequency. You strengthen the prison bars of the reality you no longer want. And the longer you wait, the tighter the grip becomes. But there is another path. There is a break in the cycle, a shift in frequency that can realign everything. Think about it. Just one shift in identity. One decision to embody the clarity, the peace, the power that is already alive within you. One step into the current of who you were always meant to be. Science has already hinted at this. In the famous double-slit experiment, particles behaved like infinite waves of possibility until observed. Only when attention was applied did they collapse into a fixed form. Now replace particles with versions of yourself. Which version are you observing? Which version are you emotionally entangled with? That is the reality you are collapsing into right now. You are not trapped because there are no options. You are trapped because you keep choosing the same one. The version of you who hesitates. The version who waits for proof before leaping. The version who doubts. But alongside that self lives another. The self who already stepped forward. The self who trusted before the evidence. The self who said yes in the moment of fear and walked into abundance. Can you feel that self? They are not distant. They are not in some unreachable future. They are alive in this very moment, breathing, waiting, radiating the life you ache for. And the only thing separating you from them is your frequency. Let me be clear. This is not about forcing reality. This is not about pushing harder. This is about resonance, frequency, alignment. When you vibrate with the energy of peace, clarity, and confidence, reality bends. Doors open. Opportunities appear. People respond differently. It feels like magic, but it is simply mechanics. The truth is simple. The old you cannot carry you forward. The old story cannot create the new chapter. If you want to meet the version of yourself who is thriving, you must let go of the one who is still waiting. You must decide now. So here is your moment. Will you claim it? Will you declare it? Or will you step back into the shadows and pretend you never heard this call? A young man in California once stood exactly where you stand now. He was exhausted, stuck in a job he hated, drowning in doubt, until one night he chose to embody his future self. He didn't wait for proof. He didn't ask for permission. He shifted his frequency. Within 6 months, he left the old job, doubled his income, and stepped into the life that once felt unreachable. His secret was not luck. It was not chance. It was identity. And now it is your turn. Type the words, "I am stepping into my highest self," in the comments below. Do it now, not later, because this act is not just a comment. It is a declaration, a signal to your subconscious, a frequency broadcast to the field. Every keystroke is you collapsing the old timeline and choosing the new. So once again, I ask you, which version are you feeding? Which life are you choosing? The door is here. The moment is now. And your future self is waiting on the other side. The choice is yours. Everything you see is only one among countless parallel versions already existing. What if the life you are living right now is just a single choice out of infinite possibilities? What if every decision, every belief, every emotion locks you into one timeline while hundreds of others remain untouched? Can you feel the weight of that? The truth that reality is not fixed but chosen? Look around you. The world feels solid, unchangeable, permanent. But science whispers another story. Reality is fluid. Reality is pliable. Reality bends to the observer. And who is the observer? You. Your consciousness, your attention, your belief. Ask yourself this. Are you merely watching reality unfold? Or are you choosing which reality to collapse into? That question is everything. Because once you realize that observation is creation, you see that your entire life is not a prison, but a frequency. And frequency can be changed. Think of the double-slit experiment. Particles behaving like waves of infinite potential until observed. Only when attention was applied did they collapse into form. Translate that to your life. Until you focus, until you expect, until you feel, the future is fluid. Once you decide, once you align, once you observe with certainty, reality solidifies around you. This is quantum jumping. Not teleportation, not science fiction, not fantasy, but a shift in resonance, a deliberate change in frequency. You are not trapped because possibilities don't exist. You are trapped because you continue to choose the same signal. Neuroscience confirms this. Your brain is not rigid. It rewires itself constantly. This is called neuroplasticity. When you repeat old thoughts, your neurons strengthen old pathways. When you embody new beliefs and emotions, your brain forges new connections, literally sculpting a new identity. This is proof. You are not locked into who you have been. You are being rewired by the choices you make in every moment. Pause. Feel that. Every thought is building a path. Every emotion is casting a vote. Every belief is tuning the frequency of your life. Which path are you strengthening? The one of doubt and scarcity? Or the one of clarity and abundance? Now imagine this. A single mother in Texas, broken by debt, drowning in fear. Every day she felt trapped in the same story, until she chose differently. She stopped feeding the version of herself that was hopeless. She began to embody the version of herself who was free. She aligned with the frequency of resilience and abundance. Within 1 year, she cleared her debt. 1 year, not by magic, not by luck, but by shifting her identity and her frequency. That is the power of choice. That is the power of alignment. You are not so different from her. You have timelines where you are thriving, timelines where you are free, timelines where you are already living the life you crave. They are not fantasies. They are real. They exist right now. The only question is, are you tuned to them? Most people are not. Most people cling to the familiar. They repeat old patterns because it feels safe. They recycle the same emotions because it feels known. And so, they collapse the same reality over and over. Then they wonder why nothing changes. Do you see it now? The prison is not outside. The prison is the frequency you keep choosing. But here is the breakthrough. The moment you decide to embody a new version of yourself, you begin to tune differently. You step out of the old current and into a new one. Your brain rewires. Your body shifts. Your energy broadcasts a new signal. And reality responds. Do not underestimate this. Frequency is not passive. Frequency is a declaration. It tells the quantum field who you are. It commands which version of you becomes real. You cannot trick it. You cannot fake it. You must become it. When thought, emotion, and identity align, the password is complete. The door opens. The jump happens. So what about you? Which version are you feeding right now? Which identity are you strengthening with your focus, your feelings, your choices? The version who doubts? Or the version who decides? The power has always been yours. The question is not whether parallel versions exist. The question is, will you step into them? Will you align? Or will you continue to recycle the old frequency until time runs out? If you believe you can choose a new timeline, hit like right now. Do not hesitate. That single action is your first declaration. A signal that you are done with the old story, that you are ready for the new. Because to jump, you need a map. And that map is not outside. It is within you. It is your identity. It is your being. And only by becoming that self can you unlock the reality that has been waiting all along. So once again, I ask, are you ready to choose? Are you ready to collapse the old and step into the new? Because the truth is simple. Everything you see is only one among countless parallel versions already existing. You do not attract what you want. You attract who you are. Let that sink in. How many times have you wanted something so badly, chased it with all your energy, only to watch it slip away? How many times did you try, fail, push harder, and still end up in the same place? Why does this happen? Why does wanting never seem to be enough? Because reality does not bend to what you wish for. Reality bends to who you are being. Think about it. If you identify as someone who is always struggling, always chasing, always almost there, then every action you take will reinforce that identity. Every thought, every emotion, every word builds the feedback loop that locks you into the same timeline. This is the trap, the cycle of desire and disappointment, the endless loop of trying but never becoming. But here is the breakthrough. The moment you shift your identity, everything changes. The moment you embody the version of yourself who already has it, who already lives it, reality begins to mirror that version back to you. Not because you forced it, not because you begged for it, but because you became it. This is the secret most people miss. They think success comes from effort alone. They think change is about forcing, about grinding, about pushing. But action without identity is fragile. It collapses. It burns out. Only when you step into the identity of the one who already lives your vision does action become effortless. Science confirms this. Hebb's law states, neurons that fire together, wire together. Each time you think and act like your future self, those neural pathways strengthen. Each time you embody that identity, you are literally rewiring your brain to support the new version of you. This is not wishful thinking. This is biology. Pause and feel this. Your brain is sculpted by repetition. Your identity is carved by the patterns you choose to reinforce. If you wake each day and feed the same doubts, the same fears, the same stories, you wire them deeper. But if you wake each day and feed the clarity, the confidence, the power of your higher self, your brain reshapes itself around that version. This is why some people transform so fast. They are not faking it. They are embodying it. They are living from the inside out, and the world bends to match them. Consider the story of a young basketball player in New York. He was talented, but he was overlooked. He felt small, unseen, stuck in the shadow of others. Until one day, he decided to live as if he were already a champion. He walked like one. He trained like one. He spoke like one. He carried himself with the presence of a winner long before the trophy was in his hands. And then, almost inevitably, he won. His reality caught up to his identity. What about you? Are you still chasing the life you want from the outside? Or are you ready to become the self who already lives it? This is the choice you face. To keep trying harder while staying trapped in the old loop. Or to step into the new identity now. Not later. Not someday. Now. Imagine waking tomorrow already embodying the clarity, the peace, the abundance of your future self. Imagine walking into your day as that version. What would you think differently? What would you say differently? How would you carry yourself? And most importantly, how would life begin to respond to you? Do not underestimate the power of this. The identity you choose determines the frequency you broadcast, and that frequency determines the reality you collapse into. It is not about luck. It is not about chance. It is about alignment. So I ask you again, who are you choosing to be right now? The one who doubts? The one who waits? The one who almost? Or the one who already is? This is not just philosophy. This is practical. This is the path to transformation. And it begins the moment you decide to embody. A new reality does not wait for proof. It responds to being. If you keep waiting for evidence before you shift, you will never shift. But if you decide to embody now, the evidence will follow. This is the paradox. You must believe before you see. You must become before you receive. So let today be the moment. Declare it. Anchor it. Write it. Speak it. Feel it. Leave a comment right now that says, I choose to live as my new identity today. This is not just engagement. This is embodiment. A public declaration that tells your subconscious, this is who I am now. Because at the end of the day, reality only reflects who you are being. And you have the power to choose that. Every second, every breath, every choice. So once more I ask, are you ready to step into the version of yourself who already has it? Are you ready to embody the champion, the creator, the abundant self who is waiting for you? Because the truth is unshakable. You do not attract what you want. You attract who you are. And that means everything is in your hands. The power you are searching for is never out there. It is beating right now inside your chest. Have you been told that your strength lies in money, in status, in recognition, in the approval of others? Have you been taught to chase what is outside while ignoring what burns within? How many times have you reached outward only to feel empty inside? The truth is undeniable. The source of power is not external. It has always been within you, hidden, waiting, breathing with every heartbeat. Can you feel it now? That pulse, that fire, that quiet reminder that you already hold everything you've been searching for. Most people miss this. They think the next promotion, the next relationship, the next validation will finally unlock their worth. But no external prize can substitute for the power that is already alive within you. External victories collapse when the internal foundation is weak. But when the inside is strong, the outside bends to match it. Your thoughts, your emotions, your identity. Together, they form the energetic password that opens or locks doors in your reality. Thoughts alone are not enough. Emotions alone are not enough. Identity alone is not enough. But when all three align, reality cannot resist. This is not abstract. Neuroscience proves it. Studies reveal that emotions are not just fleeting feelings. They shape memory. They wire belief. They decide what becomes etched into your brain as truth. When you feel fear, doubt, scarcity, those emotions hardwire stories of limitation. But when you feel courage, trust, abundance, those emotions carve pathways of possibility. Your inner state becomes your outer destiny. Think about it. How many of your choices have been guided by fear rather than strength? How many opportunities have slipped because you doubted yourself? Each time you surrendered to fear, you tuned your life to that frequency. Each time you chose courage, even in small steps, you shifted. Which path will you reinforce today? Pause for a moment, breathe, place your hand on your chest. That rhythm you feel is not weakness. It is the drumbeat of power, a reminder that you carry within you the exact force required to transform. It has never abandoned you. It is waiting for you to claim it. Let me share a story. A Vietnamese-American entrepreneur in Silicon Valley was crushed by depression. He believed his best years were behind him. He felt powerless until he realized the source of strength was not outside, not in money, not in investors, not in recognition. It was inside. He began to shift his thoughts. He began to feed empowering emotions. He stepped into an identity of resilience. Within 3 years, he built a multi-million-dollar startup, not because the world changed first, but because he changed first. He became the source, and reality followed. What about you? Are you still waiting for permission? Are you still waiting for proof? Or will you decide today that the force you seek is already alive in you? You are not powerless. You are not broken. You are not waiting for rescue. The fire is already burning. But you must fan the flame. You must direct it. You must claim it. Your strength is not measured by how much you control outside events. It is measured by how much you align inside. When thought, emotion, and identity come together, you broadcast a frequency reality cannot ignore. And doors open. Paths clear. Life responds. So I ask you, will you keep chasing what cannot satisfy? Or will you turn inward and unleash the power that never leaves you? This is the moment. Do not let it slip. If you feel the spark igniting right now, hit the heart. Let it be your declaration. Not just a click, but a signal, a choice, a frequency shift that tells your subconscious, I choose power. I choose alignment. One choose me. Because when you activate this inner force, you become unstoppable. You no longer depend on outside approval. You no longer shrink when others doubt. You no longer collapse when the world shakes. You stand rooted. You radiate. You attract. The world is filled with people waiting for something external to change. But you are not here to wait. You are here to remember, to embody, to choose. So again, I ask, where is the power you seek? Out there? Or right here, in the steady beat within your chest? And if the answer is here, what will you do with it? Because the truth is undeniable. The power you are searching for is never out there. It is beating right now inside your chest. Procrastination is not laziness. It is fear in disguise. How many times have you told yourself you would start tomorrow? How many times have you promised that one day you would change, only to wake up in the same cycle again? Be honest. How often do you hide behind delay while your dreams slip further away? This is not weakness. This is fear. Fear wearing a mask. Fear whispering that you are not ready. Fear convincing you that later will be safer. But later never comes. And the longer you wait, the heavier it becomes. Picture this. You are standing at the edge of a canyon. You want to leap. You can almost see the other side. But tied to your back is a suitcase filled with bricks. Each brick is a doubt. Each brick is a failure. Each brick is a memory of who you used to be. And no matter how hard you try to jump, the weight drags you down. This is procrastination. It is not that you cannot leap. It is that you are still carrying the old self. Science explains why. The human brain is wired to avoid risk. Studies in behavioral economics show that we are 2.5 times more motivated to avoid loss than to pursue gain. This means your brain naturally pushes you back to safety, even when that safety is misery, even when that safety is stagnation. Your biology wants the familiar more than the extraordinary, and that is why most people stay stuck. But here is the secret. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is feedback. Fear is a signal that you are standing at the threshold of transformation. When procrastination rises, it is not proof that you are weak. It is proof that you are close. Close to stepping into a timeline your old self cannot follow. So what will you do? Keep dragging the suitcase of bricks? Keep circling the same loop of hesitation? Or will you finally set it down? Let me tell you a story. A young African-American student in the United States struggled for 2 years to finish his thesis. He told himself he would start tomorrow, then next week, then next semester, until one day he realized the truth. His delay was not laziness. It was fear. Fear of failing. Fear of being judged. Fear of not being good enough. And the day he chose to embody his future self, the one who had already completed, everything shifted. He carried himself as the man who was done. He thought, he spoke, he acted like the version who had already succeeded. And in 3 months, the thesis was finished. 3 months after 2 years of delay. The power was never outside. It was inside the choice to let go of fear. What about you? How long will you let fear hide behind the mask of procrastination? How many opportunities will you allow to pass while you wait for the perfect time? There is no perfect time. There is only now. Every delay strengthens the old self. Every hesitation tightens the chains. But every courageous step, no matter how small, breaks them. Every time you act despite the fear, you loosen the grip. Every time you choose movement over waiting, you declare to the universe, I am ready. So I ask you, what weight are you still carrying? What brick is still in your suitcase? Is it doubt? Is it judgment? Is it the memory of failure? Whatever it is, acknowledge it, thank it, and release it. Because the suitcase cannot follow you into your new timeline. The truth is clear. Procrastination will not vanish on its own. Fear will not dissolve with time. They dissolve with action. Not reckless action. Not frantic action. But aligned action. The step your future self would take. The step that says, I am no longer bound by who I was. This is your chance. This is your threshold. If you are ready to put down the suitcase, type it now in the comments. Write, I choose to let go of my old self. Let it be more than words. Let it be your declaration. Because the act of naming, it is the act of freeing it. And once you release, once you set the weight down, the leap becomes possible. You are no longer dragged by the past. You are carried by the frequency of your future. So tell me, when you put down the darkness, when you release the fear, When procrastination no longer holds you back, what will you do next? Because you already know the answer. Once the darkness is conquered, the next step is simple. You must activate the new timeline. A single vibrational decision can change your entire life. Have you ever felt it? That moment when everything could shift in an instant? That moment when one choice, one alignment, one decision could break the loop you've been trapped in for years? What if that moment is right now? What if the life you ache for is only one shift away? The truth is simple. Your reality is not locked. It is fluid. It is waiting for the frequency you choose. And the key to activating a new timeline is not hidden, not complicated, not reserved for a chosen few. It is available to you now. 4 steps. That is all it takes. Adjust, integrate, release, reinforce. 4 steps that can unlock the version of you who is already living the life you crave. Are you ready to hear them? Step 1. Adjust. You must tune your frequency. Close your eyes and bring to mind the version of you who already has what you want. See them, feel them, breathe as them. This is not daydreaming. This is alignment. You are adjusting your inner signal to match the reality you desire. Step 2. Integrate. Do not leave that version as a vision. Bring them into your present. Ask yourself, how would they think? How would they speak? How would they carry themselves? Then live it. Walk into your day as that self. Integration is the bridge that collapses the gap between who you were and who you are becoming. Step 3. Release. The old identity cannot follow you into the new reality. The doubts, the fears, the stories, they are baggage. You cannot carry them and leap. So let them go. Thank them for what they taught you and set them down. Release is the act of cutting ties with the frequency that held you back. Step 4. Reinforce. Every choice you make is a vote for your identity. Each thought, each word, each action reinforces the signal you are sending to the quantum field. Do not underestimate this. Small choices compound. Daily reinforcement locks in the frequency until it becomes your natural state. This is not speculation. Science backs it. Studies in sports psychology reveal that visualization alone can improve performance by up to 45%. Athletes who practice not just with their bodies, but with their minds rewired their brains, strengthening neural circuits as if they had trained physically. Your brain cannot tell the difference between vividly imagined reality and lived reality. This is the power of adjustment and reinforcement. Let me tell you a story. A former soldier in the United States came home carrying deep scars of PTSD. He felt broken, trapped, unable to move forward, until he discovered the power of inner alignment. Each day, he practiced visualization. Each day, he adjusted, integrated, released, reinforced. Slowly, he stopped living as the wounded version of himself and began to embody the man who was confident, capable, resilient. He rebuilt his identity. He launched a business. He stepped into a timeline where his pain became his power. Not because the past disappeared, but because he chose a new present. What about you? Are you still waiting for external proof before you leap? Are you still waiting for life to change before you do? That is not how it works. The field does not respond to waiting. It responds to frequency. And frequency is set by choice dot. So here's the question you cannot ignore. Which decision will you make right now? To collapse back into the old self, dragging the same story another year? Or to activate the version of you who already lives the freedom, the abundance, the clarity you crave? The power is in your hands, and it takes only one vibrational decision, one moment of alignment, one choice to embody. If you are ready, anchor it now. Type in the comments, I choose the version who already lives this reality. Do not delay. Do not wait. Let this declaration be your first reinforcement. The universe listens to action. Your subconscious listens to repetition. This moment can become the crack where the light breaks through. Because when the jump is made, when the decision is embodied, reality shifts fast. Doors open that once seemed locked. People appear who were once invisible. Opportunities unfold that you never thought possible. Life bends to meet the frequency you broadcast. So ask yourself, what will your new reality look like? What will it feel like? Can you taste the freedom? Can you feel the clarity? Can you sense the abundance waiting for you? Because the truth is undeniable. A single vibrational decision can change your entire life. You are not learning to become a new self. You are only remembering who you truly are. What if every step you take is not about creating, but about remembering? What if the power you seek is not something you must build, but something you must uncover? Have you felt it before? That strange sense that you are meant for more? That deep inside, there is a version of you who has always known? This is not fantasy. This is not wishful thinking. This is the mechanics of reality. The quantum field does not keep score of your failures. It does not measure how many times you stumbled, how many times you doubted, how many times you gave up. It responds only to one thing. The signal you broadcast right now. Can you feel the freedom in that? Your past does not define you. Your mistakes do not chain you. Only your present frequency matters. And in this very moment, you can choose. Choose to remember. Choose to broadcast the signal of your highest self. Science supports this truth. Research in predictive coding shows that the brain does not passively record reality. It reconstructs reality based on expectations. Your brain predicts the world you live in. It fills in gaps. It reshapes experience to match belief. Which means if you expect failure, you see failure. If you expect rejection, you feel rejection. But if you expect success, if you align with the self who already succeeded, your brain reshapes reality to mirror that. Do you understand what this means? You are not trapped by the past. You are not limited by what has been. You are limited only by the story you expect to repeat. Shift the story. Change the expectation. And reality bends. Let me tell you a story. A street artist in Los Angeles painted on corners, sidewalks, and abandoned walls. He was rejected countless times. He was told he would never make it. But one day, he decided to stop living as the version who was overlooked. He began to live as the version who was already celebrated. He walked with confidence. He created with intention. He carried himself as if he belonged in galleries. Within a year, his work was invited to an international exhibition. Nothing outside changed first. He changed. He remembered. And now I ask you, what signal are you broadcasting? Are you living as the one who waits? Or the one who remembers? Most people stay locked in cycles of doubt because they believe change takes years. They believe it is slow, heavy, impossible. But the quantum field does not need time. It responds instantly to alignment. The delay is not in reality. The delay is in you. The moment you align, the shift begins. So why not now? Why not this moment? Why not choose to remember instead of waiting to become? Close your eyes and feel the version of you who is already free, already abundant, already whole. That version is not far away. That version is here in your frequency, waiting to be chosen. When you remember, the weight of failure dissolves. When you remember, the power of now expands. When you remember, life responds. This is the invitation. Do not dismiss it. Do not wait. Share this message. Spread it. Let others remember too. Because the more who awaken to their true selves, the more the world itself shifts. So once more, hear the truth. You are not learning to become a new self. You are remembering who you already are. And when you hold that memory, when you anchor that truth, reality has no choice but to reflect it back. So I leave you with this question. To keep this reality alive, what is required? The answer is not outside. The answer is authenticity. You do not need to pretend. You only need to be honest with your soul. How many masks have you worn just to be accepted? How many roles have you played, hoping that if you act the part long enough, reality will eventually reward you? Be honest. Has pretending ever brought you peace? Or has it only left you exhausted? The truth is clear. Authenticity is not optional. It is the foundation. Without it, every structure you build eventually collapses. Because when your actions do not align with your values, the energy leaks. The momentum fades. The results crumble. But when you live in truth, energy flows. Power grows. Reality responds with stability. You are not here to imitate someone else's path. You are not here to fake a smile while you feel hollow inside. You are here to embody the essence of who you really are. And when you do, life bends in ways that feel effortless. Psychology confirms this. Studies in positive psychology reveal a direct link between authenticity and happiness. The more people align with their true values, the higher their sense of well-being and satisfaction. Authenticity is not just spiritual. It is measurable. It is practical. It is power. But here is the trap. Society rewards appearances. Pretend confidence. Pretend success. Pretend happiness. And in chasing the performance, people lose themselves. They wake up one day with everything they thought they wanted, yet feel nothing inside. Why? Because they betrayed the soul to satisfy the image. Consider the story of a CEO in Chicago. For years, he pretended. He played the role of the powerful leader, the untouchable success. But deep down, he was burning out. His company was fragile because it was built on image, not integrity. Only when he stopped pretending, when he aligned his business with his true values, did everything change. The company stabilized. The culture thrived. The success became sustainable. Why? Because it was authentic. So I ask you, where in your life are you still pretending? Where are you saying yes when your soul is screaming no? Where are you chasing an image instead of embodying the truth? This is urgent. Every moment you live inauthentically, you send a signal of scarcity to the quantum field. You tell reality, I am not enough as I am. And reality mirrors it back. But the instant you choose truth, the signal changes. You broadcast strength. You broadcast wholeness. And reality responds in kind. Do not mistake this for weakness. Living authentically takes more courage than wearing a mask. It requires you to face yourself, to strip away the lies, to risk rejection in order to honor your essence. But it is the only path that leads to freedom. Imagine this: waking up each day without the weight of pretending, speaking words that match your values, taking actions that reflect your soul, feeling the alignment of inner truth and outer life. That is power. That is clarity. That is freedom. And you do not need to wait. Authenticity is not something you chase. It is something you allow. It is already within you. The question is, will you choose it? So pause and decide. Will you keep performing for an audience that never truly sees you? Or will you live as the soul that is already enough? If you agree that authenticity is strength, anchor it now. Write in the comments, I live true to my soul. Let it be your declaration. Not just for you, but as a reminder to others who are still lost in the act. Because when you choose authenticity, you ignite a signal that cannot be ignored. People feel it. Opportunities align with it. The world opens to it. Because authenticity resonates at a frequency that is undeniable. So again, I ask, what role will you drop today? What truth will you embody? Which mask will you burn so that your soul can finally breathe? Remember this. You do not need to pretend. You only need to be honest with your soul. And when you live from that place, your reality will no longer feel like effort. It will feel like home. Inside you, there is a voice that has never stopped calling your name. Have you heard it? That quiet whisper beneath the noise. That subtle pull inside your chest that says you were made for something more. How long have you ignored it? How long have you drowned it out with comparison, with distraction, with the opinions of others? The truth is undeniable. That voice is not random. That voice is your compass, your guide, your higher self reminding you of who you really are. And until you listen, you will always feel lost. So ask yourself now, whose voice are you living by? Is it yours? Or is it the echo of what the world told you to be? Most people wander through life disconnected from their own essence. They scroll, they compare, they chase, and the more they look outward, the further they drift from their true voice. But deep inside, that voice never dies. It waits, it calls, it whispers your name. The question is, will you finally listen? There are tools to help you remember. Simple, powerful practices that cut through the noise and reveal the voice that belongs only to you. Journaling, meditation, emotional observation. These are not just habits. They are gateways. When you journal, you translate the hidden language of your soul onto paper. You give form to feelings you could not name. You see patterns you never noticed. Science confirms this. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Psychology shows that journaling increases self-awareness and reduces stress. Writing is not just expression. It is excavation. When you meditate, you create silence. In that silence, the voice grows louder. It is not the silence of emptiness. It is the silence of remembering. A direct line to the self that has always known. When you observe your emotions without judgment, you begin to see what they are pointing to. Every wave of anger, of joy, of sadness is a signal, a message from the deeper voice. When you pay attention, the signals become clear, and then clarity emerges. You begin to hear not what the world wants for you, but what you want for you. Let me share a story. A young Latina woman in the United States felt completely lost. She followed the path her family expected. She studied a subject she did not love. She worked a job that drained her. She compared herself to friends who seemed certain while she felt invisible. Until she began journaling. Every morning, she wrote 3 pages. At first, the words were messy, confused, but slowly the truth surfaced. She saw her longing for art. She saw her hidden passion. She heard her own voice. Today, she is a painter, exhibiting her work, living a life aligned with her soul, not because she invented it, but because she listened. What about you? When was the last time you wrote down what you really want? When was the last time you sat in silence and asked your own soul what it desires? This is not about becoming someone else. This is about remembering. This is about giving space for your inner voice to speak. So here is your invitation. Today, write just 3 lines about the version of yourself you long to become. 3 lines. That is all it takes to crack open the door. And then share them in the comments below. Do not keep them hidden. Speak them. Anchor them. Declare them. Because every word you write is a seed. Every thought you capture on paper is a signal to the universe that says, I am ready. I am listening. I am aligning. Can you feel the urgency? That voice will not scream. It will not demand. It will only whisper. And if you do not listen, the noise of the world will drown it again. Do not let that happen. The choice is here: to ignore the call and stay lost in comparison, or to answer it and begin the journey of self-discovery. So tell me, will you continue to follow the voices outside? Or will you honor the one that has been calling your name since the beginning? Remember this truth. Inside you, there is a voice that has never stopped calling your name. And when you answer, your life will finally feel like it belongs to you. Humans do not remember data, they remember stories. Think about it. Do you remember the statistics from last year? Or do you remember the stories someone told you that moved your heart? Do you recall the numbers? Or do you recall the struggle, the triumph, the tears? Stories are the bridge. Stories are the code that bypass the mind and speak directly to the soul. You want to inspire. You want to connect. You want to awaken others. Then you must master the art of storytelling. Because here is the truth. Data may inform, but story transforms. Neuroscience proves it. Research shows that storytelling activates the regions of the brain connected to empathy. When you hear a story, your brain does not just listen, it feels. It imagines. It experiences. You step into the shoes of the character. Their fear becomes your fear. Their joy becomes your joy. That is why stories linger long after facts fade. So how do you tell a story that moves? How do you craft words that make people stop, listen, and feel? There is a structure. A simple but powerful pattern. Hook, character, conflict, resolution, the spark line. First, the hook. This is where everything begins. The first 3 to 5 seconds determine if your listener leans in or drifts away. A question, a mystery, a tension, something that grabs and refuses to let go. Then, the character. A story without a character is empty. The character must be relatable, imperfect, human, someone your audience can see themselves in. Next, the conflict. Every great story lives in struggle. It is not the victories that hold us, but the battles. The tension between what is and what could be. Conflict keeps the heart invested. Finally, the resolution, the release, the triumph, the shift. A story without resolution is a wound. A story with resolution is medicine. Do you see the pattern? Hook the mind. Humanize through character. Engage the heart with conflict. Free the soul with resolution. This is the spark line. This is the architecture of emotional storytelling. Let me show you. There was once a man in America who had lost everything. He was homeless, forgotten, invisible, nights on the street, days filled with hunger. Most people would have dismissed him. Most people did dismiss him, but he carried a story of resilience, a story of hope. One day he told it, not as data, not as statistics, but as raw truth. And that story carried him from the streets to the stage. He was invited to speak at TED. His words touched millions, not because he had numbers, but because he had a story. What about you? What story are you carrying inside? What pain, what struggle, what triumph could heal another if only you dared to share it? This is your moment. Your story matters. Even if you think it is small, even if you think no one cares, someone needs to hear it. Someone is waiting. So here's my invitation. Do not just consume stories. Begin to tell your own. Test the spark line. Hook with mystery. Reveal the character. Expose the conflict. Deliver the resolution. Watch as hearts awaken around you, because humans do not remember data. They remember stories. And if this story touches you, if you feel the truth of it vibrating in your chest, anchor it now. Hit the heart. Leave a comment that says, I am also writing my new story. Let the world know you are not just a listener. You are a storyteller, Dot. So I ask you, when will you begin to share? When will you stop hiding your truth and start offering it as medicine to others? Because the world is not waiting for more data. The world is waiting for your story, Dot. And in the end, it may be the story you tell that sparks the jump in someone else's life. This moment is the very threshold of your transformation. Can you feel it? That pull in your chest. That edge between who you have been and who you could become. How many more times will you stand at the doorway and not walk through? How many more chances will you let slip before you decide? Every story you have heard in this journey points to one truth. You are not waiting for permission. You are not waiting for the perfect time. The only thing standing between you and your new timeline is the choice you make now. Now think about it. How many days, months, or even years have been lost to hesitation? How many dreams have withered because you said, not yet? What if this hesitation is the only chain keeping you tied to the old self? Science proves it. Social psychology shows that public declaration multiplies commitment. When you speak it out loud, when you share it with others, your brain locks in a new identity. You stop dreaming privately and start living publicly. That is why people who make public commitments are far more likely to follow through. Words create momentum. A group in New York tested this truth. They made a pact. Each one declared their new identity publicly on social media. They did not wait until they were ready. They spoke it before the evidence appeared. And within months, each one had transformed. Not because life magically changed, but because they aligned their actions with the declaration. They became accountable to their future, Dot. So here you are, at the same threshold. What will you do? Shrink back into the old timeline, or claim the new one with a declaration that cannot be ignored? This is your moment to anchor it. Type in the comments right now, I choose the version who already lives this. Let it be your public commitment. Not just to me, not just to others, but to yourself. Hit the like button as your seal. A small act, but a powerful signal. A way to tell your subconscious, I am in. I am committed. Share this video to spread the signal, to remind others of their own threshold. And subscribe so you do not walk this journey alone. Because transformation is not a single step, it is a path. And together, we walk it further. Remember this. Every action, no matter how small, reinforces your choice. Commenting, liking, sharing, subscribing, these are not random clicks. They are anchors. Each one says, I am ready. Each one says, I choose. Each one strengthens the timeline you are stepping into, Dot. So pause and breathe. Look at where you are standing. Feel the weight of this moment. And know this is not a coincidence. You are here for a reason. You are hearing these words because your future self has called you here. Now the question is simple. Will you answer the call? This moment is the very threshold of your transformation. Step through it. Claim it. Live it, Dot. And now, I leave you with the final question. Are you ready to step into your new timeline?